other students will be able to, I can give them the recording about the things that we're going to discuss.
Yeah.
Have you worked through that practice bank that I put up for you for this week?
Not this week's one, no.
Okay, because that is a combination of the two exams. So it's not
Mhm.
specific to exam 2 or 3 or 1 or 2. You've got 1 and 2, yeah? It's a
Mhm.
combination of, it's just to show you the type of questions that you're going to have.
Yeah.
So you will have scenario questions. So that's where we give you the clinical indications for a patient. You'll have the images, and
Mhm.
then also the software where you can manipulate the images. And then there's a response text box, and you need to put in your response. Now, for each of those scenarios, the exam marks is out of 3.
Yeah.
It means that you've got to write at least 3 facts to get the result. So, for example, so say let's just talk about one of the examples. Say maybe a Montague fracture.
Mhm.
Mention that there is a fracture of the proximal ulna. You would mention that there is dislocation of the radial head. And then finally, you would say that is in keeping with a Montague type fracture. You don't have to use the word Montague. You could also mention about alignment, because of course there's an issue with the alignment because of the radial head. And there might be soft tissue signs, So make sure that for each of the scenario questions that you write at least 2 facts for that scenario.
Yeah.
Now, if you get a case that is normal, you still have to write 3 facts. So you won't get 3 marks if you just say this is a normal case. So if it's a query, a trauma case, you could write, for example, there is no evidence of any fractures. There's no evidence of any subluxations or dislocations. There's no evidence of any abnormal soft tissue signs. Therefore, this case is normal. Something in that.
Yeah.
So for each of the scenario questions, that will be 3 marks. And it's going to be the same for RAD 5108 and 5109. Now, for the exam, we're going to give you 9 scenarios. So you will have 9 of those cases. And of course, you will also have the image manipulation software that's available as well. And because of that, I don't know if last semester you did 4502, whether we used the responder software, did we?
Yeah. Or I've used it.
Yeah. But for this exam, I can't, because the software, if you click on the software, it actually takes you to another server.
Yeah.
And you can't have that. So the only thing that I will be sending out will be a permission statement that you have to sign. The normal thing, you won't collaborate, you won't cheat, whatever the case may be, and you've got to sign it before you undertake the exam.
Mhm.
So that's the restriction that's going to be there. So for both exams then, for RAD 5108 and 5109, you will have 9 scenarios. That means 27 marks will go towards the scenarios. And then we will add 13 other multiple choice questions, which will be 1 mark each, basically. So you'll have about 13 other MCQs. There might be matching questions or something like that. And that will then give you total marks for each of the exams of 40. And the duration for the exam is 60 minutes. And the reason why there's more time is so that you can actually use the software as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the written exams. So for, let's look at RAD 5108. So for the first exam, if you look at your timetable, your formative test for 5108 includes the fingers, the hand, the wrist, and the cervical spine. That will be your stuff that's included in online exam 1. And then in online exam 2, that will include the formative test 2, which includes the forearm, the elbow, the humerus, and the shoulder. So they will basically match formative test 1 and formative test 2. So the same things that was covered in those exams will then also follow the online exams.
Yeah.
What I will do is to contact you next week, early next week, and to find out which dates would suit you the best to do the exams. I can't remember if it was you, but someone did already contact me to say that normally like a Thursday is the best day she's off or something like that. But it depends on your timetables.
Yeah.
And we make the exam available from 3 in the afternoon on that day.
Yeah.
The latest time you can start is 7 o'clock because you need to be done by 8.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll be sending out those notifications for both of the units to let me know which date suits you best for 5108 and 5109.
Mm-hmm.
So is that clear now about the exams?
Yeah. So they're what, next week and the week after, or both next week, or?
No. Exam 1 is on the week of the 16th. Next week is
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so next week there's no new material. That's the time you can study. And then the week thereafter you'll do exam 1. And then on the week starting 23rd, you'll do exam 2.
Yeah.
And then it's your medical imaging portfolio. Now, I've given you, that was in the first week, there was that intro to the clinical portfolio with all of that information. Have you got any questions around the medical imaging portfolio?
Not at this point, I don't think.
Because you need to have 15 cases.
Yeah.
And then you also have to work out that self-auditing record.
Yeah.
Where you have to work that 2x2 table where you compare your comments to that of the radiologist.
Mm-hmm.
And the main thing to remember is quite often the radiologist report has got much more than the clinical indications. Say, for example, if they query, say, a fracture of the spine, they might indicate there's chronic as well. But that is not the clinical question. So you need to score yourself just according to
The
the
clinical
answer
question.
to the clinical question. So ignore the other things in the report. Otherwise, you will be underscoring yourself all the time.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And also you can fractionate your answers. So say, for example, if, say there's 2 pathologies, you might only identify one, but the radiologist picks up on another one, you give yourself 0.5.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can fractionate, and then your other 0.5, at the end it still needs to come to 1, so it will either be the other 0.5 will either be false negative or false positive.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And then the PIE, there is a form that you need to complete with your record as well. And then, sorry, the cases that you need to submit, put that in a Word document and send that through to me.
All right.
I must just go and double check. I'm not sure if I set up a Dropbox for all the submissions. I'll look after that. But that submission is only due the 4th of December.
Yeah.
And the same thing is when you do your 15 cases, when you write that up, also where you, let me just see, I think I had it open with your, what you want to see, where you submit with the clinical portfolio, the first part that is about, it works out to about, I think, 100 words per case or something like 60.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where you put in your findings and compare it to the radiologist's findings as well. You also just need to include the things that's important from the radiologist's report, not all of it, because that eats up into your word count as well. Yeah. And the management is optional.
Okay.
So you don't have to write anything about the management. If you look at that form, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And the 60 words per case, it's not exact 60.
Yeah, just give or take. Yeah.
Just give or take something like that. So I think those are the main things in terms of the upcoming exams. I will be, as I said, I will liaise with each student normally, because sometimes a student might find it better to write at 11 in the morning if they can't, if they have that morning shift open. So I normally, if they tell me they can't do it between 3 and 8, then I will work with those students separately and put a separate time for them. So because I don't know if your rosters are out already for the next couple of weeks, if you find that it will be too difficult for you to do it during that time, you can always let me know.
Yeah.
Tony said that he's apologizing because he was supposed to be here. But unfortunately, something happened. He only emailed me after 5 to say he had to leave suddenly and go to Newcastle. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that I wanted to mention. No, I think that is the main things around the upcoming exams.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I wanted to ask is because next week we're having a course management committee exam where we actually talk about the postgrad programs. Is there anything that you thought we could have done different for both of those units, RAD 5108 and 5109, or things that you think that work very well for you? Because I would like to have some student feedback if possible.
Yeah, I think having the Zoom meetings at the start was good. I'm a big fan of like a bit more of a face-to-face like Zoom meeting thing. That definitely was good. Because we didn't have that for introductory last semester, so it was good this semester.
We only started it this semester, and it was actually we had it at the end of semester 1.
Yeah,
and that's some of the feedback that the students gave.
Yeah. No, I think this semester's been pretty straightforward, as you go.
I think the other thing that we also did this semester was to bring in those formative exams, because last we didn't have that, and that was also good feedback for us as well.
Yeah, it's been, I feel like the assessment or like quiz, a bit like what's been open and then the feedback from that and getting us familiar with the kind of testing style has been really good as well.
Okay, that's good to hear. Is there anything that you think we can still improve on?
Oh, I don't know.
No, it's if you think of anything, if you can't think of it now, email me, because it always helps us, to try and improve the units. And that brings me to the other thing, the SETU evaluations.
Yeah.
I would really appreciate it if you can complete that, because I checked yesterday and none of the postgrad students have actually completed it. And it makes it very difficult for us because we don't know if everything is going well or not. Can we just do the same thing? So really, I would so much appreciate it if you could maybe complete the SETU. It doesn't take long. It takes about 5 or 10 minutes per unit.
Yeah.
And I also encourage the other students to do that as well. Because at least when we make changes, we can say this, we're making the changes according to the students' voice. These are the comments that they've made.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's fair enough.
Anything else?
Not really.
Yeah. But of course, that you can always email me if anything happens, because this has been such an uncertain year so far.
Yeah.
So I know some of the students, particularly in our undergrad program, are really struggling with all of the changes that happen.
Yeah.
So if anything does affect you in one way or the other, please let me know.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
I think the only other final thing I need to say is normally I would send out the results after the exams once I've marked it, but the university has sent out a universal policy, and it's because basically all of our exams were run mostly online. So what they've said now, if there's any exams that contribute to the final mark, we are not allowed to release the marks until it has gone through the pre-BOE, which means you will get your results when the results are released by the university, which is normally early in December. That's just the only other change, because that only started this semester. Normally I would mark, like the ISAP cases that we can send out, but online exams, we're not supposed to get any marks.
Yeah.
So that's in our university policy, it's not our policy.
Yeah. That's all right. That is what it is.
All right. So if there's nothing else, I'll say goodbye to you. I'll hang around just in case someone logs on late.
Yeah,
But
no, that's
as I
fine.
said, I'll stop the recording now, and if someone does come, I'll start it again. But listen, thank you so much for just coming. At least I had someone to talk to.
Thanks for having me.
Myself.
Right, I'm just doing assignments for another course. So I was like, this is a nice break.
Yeah. Are you still doing other work?
Yeah, I've got I'm doing some CT stuff as well. So
Oh, I see. So
yeah, I'm
which other is
doing
it?
them. I'm doing
5.
yeah, 5110.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm doing a full-time workload. So
But you're still working as well clinically,
yeah,
aren't you? That's
yeah.
heavy.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
I wonder if you didn't regret it at some stage or other.
Oh, there was a couple of times where I wish I had have changed my, I guess, my enrollment around a little bit. Maybe doing like, because next semester I've only got 2 like smaller courses,
Okay.
so it would have been maybe better to put my big CT one next semester, maybe have one of the smaller ones in this one. So I had
Yeah, yeah.
3 small courses rather than one massive one and then these 2. That's all right. It's well after Sunday night, CT's done. Well, this course
Okay.
is done. So at
All
least for
right.
the exam period for image interpretation, that's all I have to think about.
Yeah, and also good luck with the others as well, hey?
Thank you.
All
I'm
right,
gonna need it.
listen. All right, you take care.
All right. Thanks.
All
Talk
right.
to you later.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.